So I had a question for you, and actually, the first question was, what is the Chief Wellbeing Officer? Because I think, if I'm right, that might be what you call yourself, and it's the type of work that you do these days.
Yeah, well, lovely. First of all, it's an honour to talk to you both today. Um, and just to kind of close the loop on locations, I'm in sunny Barcelona. Although with my accent, folks might recognise that I'm not from here originally, and I'm more used to the rain, perhaps, of Seattle, being from Glasgow originally. I think, as you know. But yeah, Chief Wellbeing Officer. I guess it's the name of the platform or the brand under which I try and disseminate my work and thinking. And it came from the Chief Wellbeing Officer book that I co-wrote in 2018. But essentially, I've been working in this field of well-being for 20 years, more or less, about 15, 20 years. I studied at Stanford, did part of my PhD at Stanford, and I had this realization on the importance of well-being and experience within the world of work. And so since then, I've been looking at making well-being more strategic. I felt when I started working in it, well before the pandemic, it wasn't taken that seriously within the world of work. And even when I started working in well-being, I looked at the lens of performance. First of all, I was looking at what is the business case of well-being tools and techniques and methods to improve the performance in the workplace. But then I came back to that brand of well-being. But essentially, Chief Wellbeing Officer is making well-being a serious issue within the organization, something that is strategic and something that adds value to everyone and every stakeholder.
I have a question. Talking about pandemic, would you consider the pandemic a turning point in how organizations approach mental health, well-being, and psychological safety at work?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it changed it drastically. Andresa, I was looking at it gave everyone permission, let's say, to talk about these issues, to be vulnerable in the workplace. And we still, I think many people within business, we still wear masks to a degree. Authenticity is sometimes hard to find depending on the culture of an organization. But essentially, when we had the CEO of big companies, taking calls from their home, and then we see in the background their kids running about and dogs jumping up and down, then everyone realizes they're the CEO, but they're more than
Yes.
that, they're a human being as well. And so that just changed the conversation pretty quickly.
Yes. Wow. That's just like important, important turnout.
One thing that's coming to mind for me, especially in the world of health and safety, is this topic around psychosocial safety or psychosocial health and safety. And I don't know whether you hear of that as well, Stephen, in your work.
I see it coming up now and then. I mean, I think the term that I guess is related is just psychological safety that we work with in terms of teams and team performance, and recognizing, of course, the changes that the world of health and safety has undergone. The physical risks were well noted, but until very recently, and the pandemic changed a lot of that, then those, I guess, psychosocial and those mental health risks weren't very well catered for. So, that general area of mental health is absolutely a big part of our work and how we can move the needle on that and how can we care for people. And then psychological safety as a means, what I think for me, the best or the most valuable use of that type of work is that it helps us link well-being with performance, which I think is absolutely necessary going forward. The pandemic gave us so many benefits of opening the conversation and giving well-being a kind of seat at the table. But then organizations in the last couple of years have got a little bit nervous again in terms of execution and in terms of performance, and they're rushing into, return to office mandates and all these different things. So they have to understand and realize that well-being and all of the kind of associated work in the well-being world can absolutely generate value, and something like psychological safety has been proven to do that, so it's very valuable.